am I... What? It should be unlocked. It's like, if you want me to do an interview, why am I having to email you? That doesn't make any sense.
Maybe they have your email address?
Well, send me a message on Twitter, Instagram, any of the other million ways you can contact me. We're already talking. Just ask me what you want to ask me now. And so I said, well, I'd rather just do the podcast. That's what I said. I said, I'd rather just do a podcast instead of fucking email your dad or whoever runs the podcast. And so then he said, okay, when? And I literally 10 minutes later, 20 minutes later, I responded and said, right now, because I have time before we're eating breakfast. And then he just never responded. So, I mean, I guess that's the end of that.
The podcast is with multiple people, isn't it? It's probably not easy to just get everyone on the phone.
Yeah, ever heard of Skype before?
It's not like a phone interview.
What do you mean it's not a phone interview? Of course, I'm not gonna go. I'm not gonna go to this guy's house.
No, it's like, you've never seen a podcast before?
It's like a production.
It's several different people. They're all there, or they're all talking to each other, and then they're interviewing you. It's like,
but I'm remote.
If you're saying right now, that means they have to get in contact with 4 other people, and then they all have to be free.
Well, yeah, if they were really good at podcasting, they'd all just be waiting around the microphone all day for someone to start talking to them. If you're really committed, you'd be I always have a phone in my pocket ready to film if I want to do something cool. You know, where's your microphone? You should always have a microphone in your pocket. Clearly these guys are not committed the way they should be.
Message them back, schedule a date.
I'm not emailing anybody.
I'm sorry, I didn't understand.
I'm not apologizing. I'm not apologizing for anything.
The nature of the podcast.
If you want to podcast with me, you're doing the work. I'm not doing work. I'm just answering questions. That's a podcast.
Like, when do you want to do a podcast?
Yeah, exactly. And I said right now. That's the answer to that fucking question. And unfortunately, that's not a good enough answer for you. So, bye.
Yeah, no, I'm sure. I mean, yeah, sure. Everyone's gonna listen to this interview. This is gonna be huge. This is gonna take you guys to the next level, unless you don't post-product a fucking good intro, because most people are just gonna turn it off the moment they hear you going, "Hi, my name is Andrew," and then you pause for 15 seconds and wait for the next guy to say his fucking name. But what you have to do is you chop up the blank space between you guys talking and mash them together so it's real quick, name.
Yeah.
But then pitch all your voices up 4 octaves. I think that'll make it a little more interesting.
I love this one.
Getting in here.
All right, we're recording right now. I can just cut out whenever we begin. All right, so is everyone ready?
Sure.
We can have all of this in the podcast.
Yeah, we can have all this.
Natural start.
We can have all this
Yeah,
in the podcast.
don't cut anything.
We should insert it randomly, throughout the recording. Just the conversation stops and it's just us talking about setting up our mics.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah. You guys should have been recording 10 minutes ago.
I know. It started recording automatically, but then it didn't pick up my mic, so it stopped recording. So
I got you.
I had to press it again. But I think if we're all ready to go, we can get this show on the road. Alrighty.
Yeah.
All right. 3, 2, 1. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Indieheads podcast. I'm your host, Matty, a.k.a. @Monorabian on Twitter. On this week's podcast, we have...
I'm Jake, or JWald55 on Twitter.
Hey, I'm Alex, or Orange Morange on Twitter.
AJ, buddy.
My shit got fucked up again, as we were just discussing.
Okay. All right,
Good.
typical.
Good.
This is what we wanted to keep.
That intro
We
is
never
lame
have
as fuck.
a
Anyways,
normal
you guys should.
introduction.
Yeah, you guys should rethink that whole strap. That was lame.
And we have a special guest on the podcast, Andrew Katz of Car Seat Headrest. Hi, Andrew.
What's up, guys?
How you doing?
Can you guys hear me eating cereal?
Yes.
Yes.
We hear the clinks of the bowl.
Granola.
It's like...
Is everyone healthy today? I also just had a snack. Want to make sure we're all on full stomachs.
We're full stomachs.
I have not eaten in some
I don't
time.
eat till like 4 p.m. So.
Aaron hasn't eaten breakfast yet. He's sitting behind me playing video games.
But hey,
he'll be okay.
So this podcast is one that that I'm very glad is happening. There's some tension between us and Andrew. You know, bit of a beef happening. You know, bad communication on my end.
No, it's a beef with your dad or whoever was twittering me.
See, actually, my dad is actually in the call right now. Andrew Jackson, are you here?
That's right. Yeah. I'm a dad with a working microphone, and I gave birth to a beautiful son who doesn't know how to tweet on Twitter.com.
Good.
We should sort of elaborate on the olive branch nature of this podcast, because I think otherwise things are just going to descend into like heated arguments, and there's going to be a lot of like vitriol thrown back and forth. So to sort of set the stage, right? We extended an invitation to our lovely guest here on Twitter, and we're clearly out of line and, you know, very unprofessional in how we did so, because the podcast was not recorded when the invitation was extended. It's being recorded right now, as it were. And so we were called out in our first like big AAA Hollywood style beef that we've ever had.
Well, you guys started it right. You were like, "Hey, come on the podcast." I was like, "Okay," and then that should have just been it. You know, then we just start a podcast.
Yeah,
we
we
all comes back
email
to
shit.
a commitment issue.
Yeah. Next time you'll nail it.
Yes. And we're nailing it right now. We did land an interview, so I mean, hey.
Only because Will like made me do this. You can thank him.
I'm glad to know that Will Toledo is aware of our podcast. I'm very happy that he defended our honor and Ethan
friend of the show,
to
Will Toledo.
Too.
No, he's just friends with your dad. He's doing him a favor.
Yeah.
But Andrew, you just released an album. Well, actually, 2 albums. One with Car Seat Headrest and another that. Hang on, is it One Trait Danger?
Correct.
So, you got the big boy pants on. 2 albums in a single day. How are you feeling, man?
Pretty good. I just had some cereal. You mean like how do I feel about the albums?
Hey, we can start off on that way. We can start off with that.
Yeah, I mean, they're both fucking great. I'm probably gonna win 2 Grammys this year. It's awesome.
True.
Back-to-back Best New Musics on Pitchfork.com for Car Seat Headrest as well. How's that feel?
Wait, back-to-back for what?
For the Car Seat Headrest records, right? Teens of Denial, Twin Fantasy. Now that's Best New Music 2 in a row. That's legendary status.
I honestly don't even read that shit. I didn't have a fucking clue. But sweet, yeah. I mean, does anybody actually read Pitchfork anymore though? Is that like a thing?
We talk about Pitchfork a lot, but I don't think any of us actually read the publication.
But like, yeah, that's the thing. Like, no one actually reads this shit. Like, who reads Pitchfork? Who reads Rolling Stone? All people read is a headline.
Almost every time I've like actually tried to read it, I've regretted it. Mostly, like the reviews aren't that good.
Well, why is it fun to read a review about music? Why don't you just go listen to the fucking album? Like you have these journalists using all this like crazy huge vocabulary words, like this dick swinging contest to see you can get the biggest word down on a piece of paper to describe the sound of a fucking guitar. Just listen to the fucking thing. And so of course no one's reading that stuff. I don't even know how to pronounce most of those words.
I mean, these are bold claims coming from someone who looks very similarly to Tim Schnectake of Pitchfork News.
Whoa, Tim Schenectady.
Thank you.
I don't get this whole situation. Someone's got to fill me in on that, because that was flying off the other day, and I was completely lost.
On who Tim Schenectady is?
Yes, this is above my wheelhouse.
Tim Schenectady is a reporter for Pitchfork News that doesn't know how to read.
They have on-camera reporters?
Yeah, well,
They do now.
Oh shit! Don't pay enough attention. I just click on the scores and then get mad about them and click out of the reviews.
Yeah, I mean, Tim Schenectady was created as a way to to talk shit about journalism as a whole, and especially music journalism. He is the embodiment of what music journalism has become.
Now, you guys played
Was music journalism ever good though? Like,
well, you're asking the wrong guy. Like, I don't know how to read. So
I was going to say that you guys played the Pitchfork Music Festival in 2016, 2015. How much of what they sent over did you read?
What do you mean they sent over?
You know, they sent an invitation or something, said, "Hey, play our show."
We don't get those. It's like a booking agent that does all that.
You go. I mean, I'm sure you have people that you can pay to read things for you at this point.
I pay most people to read everything for me. Yeah.
But hey, Twin Fantasy is out now on Matador Records.
Fantasy, good. Yeah, that's another great Pitchfork gem right there. Can you believe that? Can you believe that?
I saw you post about that, and I'm like, wait, that's not real, is it? And apparently it was real.
Definitely real.
Wait, I'm out of the loop here.
The
Twin
Pitchfork recently published their Twin Fantasy review with the title spelled wrong as Twin Fantasty.
They added a T in there.
I mean, 100%
intentional?
accurate to the quality of the album, but like,
I mean, it just shows you the lack of effort. That
how do you fuck that up?
They were trying to use a bigger word by adding an extra word.
Yeah, I think these people get paid by letter. I swear to God. Like, they just try to cram shit in there. And they obviously don't have anybody, like, checking this stuff. Like, where is a fucking editor? What is happening? It's just crazy.
It's funny because the person who did that review is like one of the top editors at Pitchfork right now. So you think that he would have caught that before posting it, or someone else would have caught it, but nope. Twin Fantasy is now officially canon in the Car Seat Headrest universe.
It shouldn't be mirror to mirror and face to face anymore. It should be Twin Fantasy and Twin Fantasy.
Or you could release a third re-recording, and this one's mostly just like about food instead of interpersonal relationships.
Well, I'm not trying to give away any hints, but that's the next one.
You heard it here first. That's a scoop. That's going to be a headline on Pitchfork tomorrow.
Yeah, 2025 version.
Yeah, it's gonna read Andrew Fats from Car Seat Headrest releases new tasty food album.
The album
and they're not even going to listen to the whole thing.
Right now, eating this bowl of cereal.
They're going to review my album. They're not going to listen to the whole thing, and then they're going to make bold claims about the part that they didn't listen to. Fuck.
Yeah. So you guys also let's really just dig into. I have a couple questions about that Rolling Stone piece that had come out. That there was a lot of like personal issues with. It seemed like from within the band. How long was that reporter like with you guys? Because that's the impression I got.
I never met him. He was only in Chicago with Will for a few sessions. It sounds like clearly didn't spend very much time. And to be honest, I didn't.
In the article, he spent a year.
Well, of course, he said he spent a year, which probably means he showed up maybe 3 or 4 times throughout a year, and just like it was obvious he had already written the article. He was not gleaning any more information from the sessions. He was just doing it because I bet our publicist forced him to do it. But I'm sure he wrote that well before he even met Will.
Yeah, I can see that because I actually want to get like more insight into like the actual like production, like because I think Will is just like a really good producer and a really interesting producer.
He's gotten super good. Yeah,
I want to hear some insights.
Actually, gotten really good.
Because he starts off again making albums with like garage band stuff, and now it's like he's now like transitioning to like a professional studio and like still like fucking killing it basically. So,
it's still kind of really impressive he recorded the original Twin Fantasy in GarageBand. Like,
oh yeah, hey, don't knock GarageBand. GarageBand's great. It just lacks the in-depth plugins and things like that. But as far as a recording tool, I mean, it's just as good as anything else.
Yeah, I mean, GarageBand interface-wise is pretty much identical to like Logic or whatever program that you can pay $200 for.
Yeah, and Will uses Logic, so that was a good next step.
Right.
Actually, he's switching over to Ableton now because he's seeing the light. I convinced him. he's on play.
It seems like a lot of like really big producers use Ableton. Like I know Mac Miller referenced it in a song because Flying Lotus uses Ableton.
Oh yeah, all EDM guys use Ableton. That's like the standard.
But actually, let's talk about the recording of Twin Fantasy a little bit. Like, kind of back to the beginning. Like, when you guys, Will said that when you guys signed to Matador, basically you kind of signed like a kind of 3-album deal. It's like, okay, we're gonna do Teens of Style, we're gonna do Teens of Denial, and then we're gonna do Twin Fantasy remake. Like,
correct. So
did you, like, whenever you joined the band or whenever you guys signed to Matador, did Will ever talk, like, I guess, like, prior to recording this, like, maybe back in, like, 2014, 2015, before the band was signed, did Will always want to re-record Twin Fantasy?
I didn't hear anything about it until the signing happened, and then he filled us in on what the plan was.
Okay. And I guess, so, you guys started recording this, it's funny, you guys apparently started recording this, or at least you recorded, like, your guys' parts, like, the weekend of Pitchfork Music Festival in 2016?
Yeah, because we were in Chicago, and we recorded a bit of My Boy, actually maybe the whole thing of My Boy at Decade Studio with Adam Stilson. And that was just to lay down the tracking. I think we did drums, guitars, no vocals yet. And we did that just because Will liked some of the stuff Adam had put out before, and we were already in town, so he just said, fuck it, let's just book some time with this guy. And then Will kept going back to Decade to do more stuff. I think we even ended up going back there one other time to do something else, but My Boy is the only one that I recall off the top of my head.
Okay, gotcha. And let's see. So from what I can tell, it seemed like you guys kind of recorded all your parts sort of in like a quick succession, and then it was sort of Will tinkering with the rest of it. And actually, I want to ask, because obviously, like comparing this to, there's a lot more like added instrumentation. So how much say did you have in some of the songs, like adding new things to the songs, or was it?
Wait, so you're gonna have to repeat comparing this to what you sort of echoed out.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, comparing this to the 2011 version. How much input did you have in the instrumentation on this new version of Twin Fantasy?
It's sort of song by song. Like a song like My Boy, obviously the beat is just, it's gonna be the beat, doom doom ka, but something like Blid, like on the verse beat where I throw those weird offbeat bell hits while I'm playing the hi-hat and the ride cymbal, that's just kind of like we were just recording it, and I just sort of played something random that I thought might sound good, and then will say either yes or no, and then we roll with it from there. But he always just comes with a framework, and he either has a beat that he wants me to play, or he has an idea for a sound, and he'll say, well, try this, or just make something up. But it's always him either saying, okay, I like this, or I don't like this. Because, I mean, he's the guy, he knows what he wants the songs to sound like. I'm not the guy. He's the fucking guy. So I just play some shit, and he either likes it or doesn't. It's basically Gladiator style, thumb up or thumb down. but what he's good at is giving us freedom within a framework. So he'll come with a song, we'll jam it out, and he'll just say, well, okay, this is the time signature, this is the tempo, this is the structure of the song, but you fill in the blanks. So I mean, in that sense, we get to make up a lot of the parts, but we are still operating within a framework of a song. Like, I'm not writing bridges for tracks, that's Will's job. My job is to just make tasty beats.
How much did you say you felt a pressure to try and improve or change some of those songs? Because the original Twin Fantasy, I guess among the indie music crowds online, it was kind of a beloved album, and so when it comes out that you're re-recording it and completely redoing all of the music on it, when you're in the studio sort of messing around and experimenting with it, is that stuff coming from a place of how could this song that a lot of people already really cherish become better or become new, versus trying to preserve, I think, what people enjoyed so much of that original music?
Well, I think it was, in my case, sort of irrelevant, because I had only really listened to the original Twin Fantasy once. When I met Will, he just came over and jammed with me in my garage in Seattle, and I hadn't even dug into his music yet. And then when he left, I went and looked at his Bandcamp, and I was like, holy fuck, this guy's for real. And that's when I listened to Twin Fantasy, and I just listened to it once, and literally never listened to it in its entirety again. So I didn't even have the opportunity to come at it like, ooh, I wonder if I should play the beat like it's supposed to be played, because I couldn't even remember what the fuck the beat sounded like. So it was all new to me.
That's probably good, actually, because you didn't like have an attachment to anything or like feel like bring your own serious emotions
I think it has its pros and its cons. I think cons are I forget how to play the songs a lot of the time. The pros are I get to make up new stuff and I have no clue. Yeah, no attachments. It's good.
Can you dig a little bit more into like that first sort of meeting and when you got involved with Car Seat Headrest? Because that sounds super interesting that you just sort of stumbled into this project that's become such a big thing.
God, yeah. I mean, it's just total luck. It's just another dude in the city on Craigslist, with the other million drummers posting, hey, I'm a drummer. Look at me drum. Can I be in your band? And Will obviously got desperate enough to come over to my house and play with me because he couldn't find any other drummers. I mean, if you were to do an interview with him, his account of the story is really funny. He basically said I was his last resort. And then he came over and we just jammed. Like I had probably met that year with 100 people before him. Like I was just trying to play with as many people as possible because I mean that's kind of what you have to do as a drummer. You just kind of have to whore yourself out and play with a lot of bands. So at the time I was with Lost Tribe, that EDM act, and Will came over and I thought it was going to be another, garage jam session. He was going to lay down some guitar. I was going to throw some drums behind it, and we were just going to have fun. I had no idea that we were even going to be in a band together because I had met with so many people, and so many times you just, you have a jam session and you never talk again because, musicians are flaky and things like that. But Will kept wanting to meet up and kept wanting to jam, and I knew. When I saw his Bandcamp, I knew that he would at least be somewhat successful, and I was like, holy shit. I would love to be a part of this. And so he kept wanting to come over, and I kept saying, yeah, let's fucking jam. And it just took off from there.
Have you guys ever chatted about sort of like what made him think you were the one in as many terms, to be the drummer?
He still doesn't think I'm the one. No, there is no one. I'm just the guy that happened to be there at the right time.
Interesting.
Because it's because you guys have built up like such at least from your Instagram account, you guys have kind of built up a really great rapport, Which, by the way, I want to say very quickly, I'm a huge fan of your Instagram page. I love all your videos are amazing. Like I literally have a Twitter thread of like almost all the videos. Like the Mr. President one is like fucking amazing. Because I love.
What do you mean you have a Twitter thread?
I have a Twitter thread with all like basically that like compiles like all your Instagram videos because I'm a big fan.
That's creepy, but yeah, okay. Thank you.
Hey, it's out there in the public, man. It's out there in the public.
That's true. I'm asking for it.
Exactly. I mean, come on, man. But I'll let someone else continue because the origin actually because I know I want to ask really quickly. How's Jacob doing in med school?
Oh, Jacob, our old bassist?
Yeah.
He's great. I haven't talked to him in a few months, but every now and then when he comes through Seattle, we hang out for a minute and we catch up. I mean, yeah, he's a smart guy. He's going to be a fucking doctor. That was his path, and he took it.
Yeah, because AJ, go.
No, I was going to add, the Seattle stuff was like, how long ago was that? I don't think we've sort of touched on that when you guys are just jamming out, sort of figuring that whole deal out.
Like just before right when we met, before anything happened.
Yeah.
That was like late 2014.
Late 2014. And I mean, like here we are, less than 4 years later. I would say you guys have made it fairly big time. You played some like big late night shows and all that kind of stuff, some good music festivals. What is that? That's sort of, as close to the dream as you can really get. That's got to feel pretty interesting at least, right?
Oh, it's totally surreal. I mean, when you're someone who's trying to be a musician, you can't actually think that it's ever going to happen because chances are so slim. If you thought that way, you'd be disappointed every day. So you go through life being like, okay, well, I'm going to try, but I'm definitely going to be selling auto insurance in 10 years. And then when it happens, it's just like, holy fuck, that's the luckiest shit ever. Because I mean, it's like a guy like me, I'm not an exceptionally great drummer. I think I'm pretty solid and I've got some good beats, but like, there are so many 11-year-olds that could just rip me to shreds on the kit, but for some reason I'm the one playing Colbert and Conan. You know, it's just totally luck.
Yeah, and even on top of that, though, I mean, you still find and make time to like record all of your own shit and do those weird kind of like side projects and stuff. Where does that inspiration sort of come from? You're still trying to do all that weird shit on the side.
Oh, it's just fun. I mean, One Trait Danger is completely maybe a little bit of at-home work, but 95%, 99%, we only do that stuff when we're on the road. So I just bring my laptop and like a shitty, like we record vocals with a tom microphone plugged into the computer, and like the solo on Saturdays for the Boys Ethan did, we just literally recorded that through my computer microphone. I just held the computer up to his unplugged electric guitar. It was just an acoustic electric guitar, and we held it up and just put a bunch of plugins on it and made it sound real. So I mean, it's just like really low budget stuff, but the whole time we're doing that stuff, we're just laughing so hard. It's just super fun.
Is this upcoming tour for Twin Fantasy like the biggest you guys have done yet? I'm trying to sort of figure that out in my mind, because you guys are going fairly global. You guys are going fairly global, right? I know you have like some UK dates and some Europe dates. Have you been over there before? Like,
yeah, no, this is the pretty standard cycle. This is exactly
pretty
what we
standard
did for Denial. We did So last January we went to Australia, and then we did Europe a few more times that year. So this is almost exactly what we did last year. But I think in the future we're going to expand it further. I know Asia has been talked about. I know Mexico has been talked about. Brazil is a possibility at some point.
What's the one place where you're like, just book us a fucking show there so I can go visit, and then get me like a week of vacation after that? Where are you desperate to visit?
Oh man, I don't know. I think it'd be cool to go down to Brazil. That'd be sweet.
Hell yeah.
We get a lot of like, I can't tell if there's a lot of fans there or there's just like a few extremely vocal fans. I'm sort of thinking it's the latter. But we get a lot of shit like, come to Brazil, all capitals. People in Brazil love all capitals on the internet for some reason.
I think the thing is that people in Brazil love being online all the time, that you just see so much of that shit. But I'm sure you guys have a passionate fan base down there too. Do you have any weird, like, sort of almost embarrassing music nerd type, like, dream gigs or places to play, like any venues, anything like that?
Oh, I'm not like a music nerd. That's what, like, I've never like obsessed about bands, and I've never dreamed about any of that stuff.
You don't want to play in like the theater where Bob Dylan like took a shit one time and
see, like that makes that, like, I could not give less of a shit. Like, we were just talking about this last night. We were doing a signing in Seattle, so we played a little show and then did an album signing. And like, I don't want to offend anybody that likes getting signatures, but from a personal standpoint, like, I have no desire to get anybody's signature. I've never gotten someone's signature, I don't think. And like, even if I ran into fucking Brad Pitt and he was like, "You want me to sign your ass?" I'd be like, "No, dude. Like, who wants a signature? I'd rather just like talk to the guy and be like, "Hey, I loved Fight Club," you know, and then walk away. Or if he wants to get a beer, cool. But like, having a signature means almost nothing to me. But I guess, you know, a lot of people value it, you know, for whatever reason. But I think it's fucking stupid.
You probably had to have some kind of like inspirations though to get into drumming and music in general. What were some like the records you loved when you were younger?
Oh God, I mean, the music I listened to when I was younger. The first CD I ever got was for Hanukkah. It was a Weird Al Yankovic album.
I was just gonna say you can clearly see the Weird Al inspirations in all of RC Headrest's music.
Yeah, no, I loved comedy music. Weird Al Yankovic, the album that had Amish Paradise on it, that was fucking great. And then, of course, like Tenacious D, I got into a huge amount of Tenacious D when I was younger because my buddy Riley's brother, Chris, he had the old, I don't know if you guys have seen it, the old HBO special that they had. Okay. They had an HBO show, right? And it was so fucking funny. I've probably seen it like 50 times all the way through because it's only like the whole disc. If you buy like the box disc, is only like an hour long. But it's so great. If people haven't seen it, definitely go check it out. But yeah, so that kind of stuff. I mean, I listened to, I think the first like rock album I ever bought was a fucking Korn album. I mean, I was into metal for a bit. I bought a POD album in 5th grade. I was all over the place. I had an Aqua album, Squeeze, Cake, just a bunch of random shit.
I'm pretty sure Dave Grohl played drums on like one of the later Tenacious D records. Like they put out one. They put out. That's fucking wild. I just totally remember that.
They like toured together, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, he played Satan in one of their films too.
That's right. Yeah, that film's a classic. It does not get enough appreciation in my mind.
Yeah, no, Dave Grohl's cool.
I mean, like I would put every Nirvana album like right below the Tenacious D and the Pick of Destiny film OST.
Back to like the recording of the album, like was there any particular recording that was just like really kind of like obnoxiously difficult to record? I just helped my friend record his EP, and like we spent 4 hours on a single like vocal take, not like a verse, but like 3 lines, and it was just ridiculous.
Well, yeah, I mean that'd be a question for Will, because I mean, I think how we did most of the tracks is we did drums first, either drums and like guitar at the same time, and I've never messed up in my life, so I just nailed all my parts immediately. And then
Hell yeah!
I just go sit on the couch across the glass while Will does all the hard work, and I don't really pay attention, so that's not a question for me. I do remember recording Teens of Denial. I actually, in all reality, I did fuck up on Vincent quite a bit. It took a while to get that one, but on this album, yeah, I don't remember it being actually that hard to do.
All right, we're like, how do you feel about the new recordings? Like, is there one in particular that like, I don't know, you really enjoy or?
Off Twin Fantasy?
Yeah.
I mean, I love Nervous Young Inhumans. I think that's the song. I think that's a song that has the potential to take us to that next level, because it does have that pop quality and mass appeal to it. And in the full version, that the jam at the end is just so. I love that. I love how crisp Will got the drums to sound like those hi-hats sound really crisp. I think he did a super good job producing it.
Yeah. That's one of the moments I like really appreciate on the new recording at the end of that song. And I think I'm trying to remember specifically, but there are a couple other songs too that get these weird like experimental type outros that sort of weren't on the original things, and a lot of that is like the out there off the wall material. Did you have any say in just like those weird parts, or where did those come from?
No, the weird stuff's all Will.
Yeah.
I mean, because like he produced it. It's like he basically just produced it on his laptop, essentially in his bedroom. So he had time to just play around and mess with it, which I think is so good. I mean, I think we missed, and I've talked to Will about this, I felt like we missed that opportunity, or he missed that opportunity on Denial, because we were working with another producer. It was not produced solely by Will. And so I felt like Will didn't have the freedom to just like sit in his room and play with effects for 6 hours, because we were sort of on the clock paying somebody. And so I think Denial missed out on the opportunities for the cool, weird shit. And luckily we came back and did it for Twin Fantasy.
Yeah,
and speaking to that kind of,
I was gonna say like, yeah, because like a song like High to Death with like that, you know, the spoken word outro, like that would never be on Teens of Denial. Like so some moment like that where it becomes not really a song, it just becomes a sort of weird kind of like, I remember I was talking with my friend about it, and he was like, this is kind of weird and creepy, which I
it's
really
like a
enjoyed.
Passage. It's not really like a song.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it would have been possible with a producer, but it just wouldn't have had the same quality to it. Like, and that's, I mean, Will knew that, which is why he wanted to self-produce it. I mean, it's kind of his baby. It's his 2011 masterpiece, and he didn't want anybody else to take a dump all over it. He wanted to do it himself. And if he did fuck it up, at least he could say it was on him and not some asshole that we paid.
Mm-hmm.
But luckily it sounds great, and honestly, we're gonna be fucking winning a Grammy in a couple months.
Yeah, back to Nervous Young Inhumans for a second. You guys did like an edit of that one, I'm pretty sure, like a radio friendly edit, and then you also did these like remixes for Drunk Drivers, Killer Whales, and what is it, Unforgiving Girl off Teens of Denial.
Did you ever hear the EDM version of Drunk Drivers? Did that ever get put out anywhere?
I don't think so. Wait, there's a synthy version that's like, it sounds like a demo. But I'm not sure that's the one you're talking about.
Maybe that is. Will, if you're listening to this, you got to put the EDM one out. It's too good. I don't know.
I definitely want to hear it.
The next version of Twin Fantasy should just all be EDM.
If you guys don't know what I'm talking about, then I don't think it's been released, because you know what I'm talking about.
Maybe we aren't big
it's like
enough
a
then.
4 in the floor, vocals pitched up, like dance track to Drunk Driver. It's fucking good though. Like I helped Will produce
I need to hear this.
and like we loved it and we wanted to put it out, but the record label was like had their head in their ass and they wouldn't do it. I mean, maybe they saw something that we couldn't take a step back and see because we spent time making it, but it's fucking sweet.
Andrew Katz
Could
shoots
you
hard on
always just,
Matador
like,
recordings.
Drop it on like SoundCloud somewhere and just sort of let it be.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, Will, yeah, just put it out.
But I wanted to ask about those, like, I'm doing air quotes that you can't see because it's an audio podcast, but radio-friendly single edit versions of your songs. Like, is that for, like, you know, the radio play, the streams, like, a way for people to get into your band? Or do you just, that sort of, like, weird improvisational thing of, like, we want to make this song sound different? Even with, like, the EDM version, are you just fucking around and it's like, this is something you should put out?
That we're forced to do that because when you put a song on the radio, it has to be within a certain amount of time, right? You can't put a 12-minute song on radio. It's like no one's going to play that, right? So you have to edit a song to fit a certain time frame.
I like those versions though, even if they are, you know, sort of manipulated products that had to be put out. But it's something that I think
some of them sounds better. Like I honestly, the cute thing redo that Will did. Have you guys heard it?
Yeah.
It's great. Like he chops up the drums at the end, and it's got those like stutter crashes in it. It's like really sweet.
And it's not.
I remember
it's not
talking
just like
to him, and he was saying like, "Damn, I wish I just would have done that on the album." But you know, now we have 2 cool versions.
Yeah, that was kind of what I was going to say with like the Drunk Driver Killer Whales single edit, for example. It's not really like none of the time really got trimmed or anything. It's kind of like a reworking or a reimagining of the same song. Like there's the part from like Plane Crash Blues that he interpolated kind of at the end of the track. And I don't know, basically just like a different, looking at the same song from a different angle rather than just making it shorter in order to fit on the radio.
Yeah, I mean, Will's not an idiot. He's not just going to like chop up a song and like slap it together so it doesn't even make sense so it'll fit on radio. Actually, which is... sorry, Matador, but which is exactly what fucking Matador did with Drunk Drivers when we first had to make a radio edit of it. They just like literally cut pieces and pasted them together, and so the song made no sense anymore. And that's actually how the EDM version came about, because it felt like we had to completely restructure the song and redo it. And I think he takes that approach with all the edits, because you can't, depending on the song, but most songs you can't just trim it. It would just be stupid.
Another weird kind of press thing you guys have had lately was the collaboration with butt rock legend Smash Mouth. How did that whole thing come together?
Did you just say butt rock?
It's a genre.
Butt rock.
I mean, it's Smash Mouth. They're great. That's the genre.
So they're their own genre?
Absolutely.
But where does the term butt rock come from?
It rocks so hard it rocks your butt off. I don't know. There's a.
Did you make that up?
I've heard it before.
Well, who else is butt rock?
I've heard Nickelback be described as butt rock.
I don't think that's really fair.
Okay. I see what you're saying now. You mean just like they got so famous that everyone has to hate them rock? Yeah, I see.
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, Nickelback and Smash Mouth they're not making bad music. They're making just as shitty rock as everybody else. They just happen to get the most fans, so they're the easiest to shit on. But yeah, I see what you're saying. So wait, what was the Smash Mouth question?
How the hell did that whole thing come about?
Just some fucking kid on Twitter was like, "Hey, Smash Mouth, hey, Car Seat Headrest, you guys should collab." And then either Will or one of them was like, "Okay," basically how this fucking interview happened. And then it actually did happen.
And Will of course, completely on brand, picks like a deep cut from Astro Lounge, while Smash Mouth.
I mean, you can't just do All Star.
Of course.
What are we assholes? I mean, it's like, yeah, it's stupid. I mean, and they did something soon, and the production on it is really good. Like Over There Producer has been in the game for a while, and it's like super radio ready, really high quality produced. But they changed the words "want to wanna," and it ruined the whole song. I can't even listen to it. It makes me sick. It's I wanna. It's oh my god. It's so bad. I'm sorry. It's terrible. The rest of it is great, but just the conjunction of those two words ruined it for me.
I mean, hey, I see it, but hey, Smash Mouth are legends. You know, they felt they could take some, you know, creative liberties, and they don't always pay off.
Yeah, they took one creative liberty on the song, and it just tanked.
Although that's probably one of the better songs they could have picked to cover from the discography.
That's a cool song to pick for sure. I just wish they wouldn't have rolled it around in dog shit. But I think. No, I'm giving it too much flack. It does sound pretty good. It is a
really good cover in just a strange reinterpretation kind of a way. It is fascinating.
Yeah, if they had just said "want to," it would have been a great song.
Yeah, hey, Andrzej, you had a question like way earlier. You were trying to get out that I think it's.
I might have been something about. I think I was just going to ask how your spoken word outro at the end of Bodies, how did that come about, and whose decision was that to include on the album?
The Need to Know basis?
Yeah.
So that was, I think Will just recorded that, or I recorded that on my phone. One of us did. We have like a bunch of weird phone recordings because we're always recording each other, and I was just singing that in a green room or something. I think we might have even been in Europe. I don't know. Just an off-the-cuff fucking around. And then, I don't know if you've listened to the One Trait Danger album, but that song, Oh Actually, has that exact same line, or a similar line in it. And I had no idea that Will was going to put it on Twin Fantasy. I literally found out, like, when he played it to me in a car on a road trip. Like, he didn't even tell me. I had no clue. But it was hilarious. So as far as like what it means, I mean, you'd have to ask him. I mean, Will is the king of meta and like deep shit. So like, I think he sort of knew that I was going to be doing this One Trait album with that song on it, and he liked the connection between the two. You know, he loves that connection shit. He's an artist. He has these visions, and he always gets it right. Like me, I'm like. Okay, there's a difference between an artist and someone who like just makes art. Like Will is a super good artist that has ideas and shit. I'm just a guy who plays the drums okay, you know? And so like he had this idea that is beyond me, and he knew it would be a funny connection or whatever, and he put it in. And I'm glad he didn't tell me, because I thought it was really funny to hear it just like out of nowhere.
I would say it's the Silver Surfer intermission of Twin Fantasy.
The what?
This it's from The Life of Pablo, Kanye West. There's the Silver Surfer intermission where Kanye calls Max B from jail, and that's the intermission.
Oh, yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I've heard it.
Will definitely has. I wouldn't be surprised.
I'm sure he has.
Because Will's talked about how much he loves Life of Pablo. So
yeah, he does. He does like it.
I want to ask some questions about touring really quick. So this one I asked a couple bands, and I think, how down is like your van packing method, and who's in charge of like packing the van?
It depends on the old U.S. tours when we were still riding in Bertha. Rest in peace. That was my parents' old van that they gave to me when I moved up to Seattle because they knew I'd need like a van for moving equipment. When we drove that, I was the pack master on that one, and I was fucking good at it. Real military style. You know, if you fall in line, you hand me the right gear, I put it in like a Tetris piece. In Europe, when we have like a TM or whatever, they usually, you know, when you're in Europe with it, you're paying a guy to basically worry for you, and so they pack the van usually. Seth's always helping us. Seth's like a fucking workhorse. So he's always doing something. Yeah, it just totally depends. on the situation because it's always evolving. Like every tour is a little different. Like we've even done a tour bus in Europe, and that's just totally different.
And now you guys at least for this Twin Fantasy tour, like running with like a 7-piece now instead of the the normal 4-piece.
Sure.
So it's gotta be even crazier.
Yeah, well, we haven't done a road trip yet. So like we've only played a couple shows.
Okay.
So like Bozeman, we just rented a couple. Actually, Naked Giants drove their van, and we just rented like an SUV to drive to Montana, and we backlined, which is like you rent the gear and it shows up at the venue. Okay. So we traveled with minimal gear, and then you show up and the drum kit's already there for you, and you just set it up. And we did. So we did the same thing for the last 2 shows. So whatever, how many shows we've done. So in LA, backlined as well, and we just all flew out there. But once we start doing, I think, the tour in April, when we're in the Pacific Northwest, that'll be the first test of like what we're going to do on the road as a 7-piece, but we're yet to get to that point.
Gotcha. And I guess more questions about touring. Unless Jake, did you have a question? Or
not really. I mean, just as far as the touring with 7 people, have you discussed at all how that's going to work, like logistically with 2 bands? Obviously, you're going to be having 2 drummers and 2 of each separate instrument. Is it going to be kind of like a revolving door cast of musicians playing each song, or are there certain ways that it's going to be arranged, or is that something that you haven't really discussed yet?
What do you mean revolving cast?
Well, I know that I've seen before, like when 2 bands tour together kind of as one band playing like one set of source material. Like one song might have one drummer on it, and then the next song, like the other drummer will come out, or like the 14 people who are yeah.
So for all the car seat stuff, any car seat song we play, Henry, who is the Naked Giants drummer, he'll be on auxiliary percussion, and Grant is their guitarist. He'll be on guitar always, and Gianni is going to be on keys. So like whenever we're doing car seat stuff, that's how it goes. I think Gianni and Will on a few songs swap because Will plays keys on a few songs and then Gianni plays a little guitar. But what we did do in LA was since they didn't get to open for us, we thought it would be a good idea to play a few of their songs. So car seat guys learned some Naked Giant songs, and in that case, Henry and I swapped. So Henry played his drums and I played aux percussion for their songs. And then Gianni was, swapped with Will to sing leads. So for those songs we swapped. But any car seat song, we've all got our places.
All right.
And I guess...
What are your... Sorry, I was just going to ask what your plans are after this tour.
Which tour?
The Twin Fantasy one you guys are about to go
you
on.
mean the next like year and a half, 2 years of our life?
Yeah.
I don't think we've really thought that far ahead.
Fair enough.
I was going to ask another touring question. What is like the most brutal trip that you guys have made so far on tour? Because you guys have been at this for 3-4 years now, pretty much. So what's like the most like brutal car ride, or just the most brutal trip that you guys have been on? Because I talked with
there's a couple.
With I think do you know who Ott is?
Yeah, definitely.
I talked with their drummer about it, and he was relaying a story basically of like them like playing a festival in Seattle and then flying out to Paris or something, and then like renting a car and like driving out to like the UK or something like that.
Yeah, that sounds pretty shitty. Yeah, I mean, there's a few that come to mind. When we had Bertha while she was on her last legs, we were driving through, like, we were heading to, like, Denver or something from somewhere else, like a fucking 5-hour drive, and we start smelling, like, maple syrup in the car, and we're like, oh, that's not good. And then the AC goes from blowing out cold air to blowing out extremely hot air. And so we ended up, like, stopping in some podunk-ass town next to, like, a rodeo arena, and like had this guy check out our car. Turns out it was like we with some fucking like fluid. I don't even remember what it was. We were low on some fluid near the engine, and so for the next while, like pretty much for that whole tour, we would have to stop, and we had this jug of the fluid, and we'd refill the little tank, and every once in a while you'd smell like maple syrup and it would blow hot air, and it was like really hot outside too. So it was like sometimes you had to just go no AC and just be dying. So that was pretty bad. I think another one that pops into mind would be a couple of the Europe trips. I know the end of one of our earlier Europe trips, we played a festival in like, I don't even know where it was, like Copenhagen or something. And it was a late show. Like we went on stage at like midnight or something, or like maybe it was 2 a.m. I forget, but like I think we ended at like 2 a.m. or something, and then we drove back to our hotel, got there at like 4 a.m. and then didn't have time to go to bed. We all just showered, went straight to the airport to catch our 7 a.m. flight back to Seattle, and that was just like so brutal. Like you're awake for like 40 hours. When I got home, I was essentially hallucinating. It was just awful. I think just in general, the last European tour we did with the tour bus was pretty tough. Those things are not easy to sleep on, because you play a show and you go to bed in your little cot, your little vampire ass cot, and you fall asleep, and then your driver, shout out Tomas, your driver will wake up in the middle of the night and start the bus, and then you just get like jolted awake as this bus starts to move, and it's like really hard to fall back asleep. I think towards the end I got used to it and I was getting good night's sleep, but like Will and I think maybe Ethan just like got destroyed. Like they didn't sleep at all that whole tour. So honestly, I'm not even sure if we're ever going to do a tour bus tour again. Maybe we'll revisit the idea at a certain point, but this next European tour, we're not going to do it like that.
Yeah, I can't blame you for that, like, at all. That just seems awful.
Yeah, I mean, touring's tough. It's part of the game. But at the same time, it's fulfilling to play shows.
I mean, yeah, I was going to say, because, like, right now, as far as I know from basically in the Indian music scene, it's like, if you want to make a career out of this, you have to just tour relentlessly for months on end. And, you know, does that sort of... if you want
to make money, yeah, absolutely.
I mean, has that, you know, have you gotten used to it, or is it, like, sort of taking like a toll on like your mental and physical health over time?
I mean, I'm in the camp of the more shows the better. Like if we're already going to be on the road for 2 weeks, why not add another 2 weeks? Like let's play some fucking shows. But I'm also on one end of the spectrum. Like I don't think many people are on the same page as me. So like Will and Ethan, they get more worn down by touring, I think. It takes a bigger toll on them. I think as we've done more tours and gotten better at it, I think everybody in the band has gotten more resilient to just the hell that touring is. But I mean, everyone's got a certain breaking point. I do too. I think I just have a pretty high threshold.
Gotcha. What's happening? Get anything else to say? Because I really don't have I don't have much more to say. I mean, again,
yeah. When's that tour like kicking off? How soon are you guys getting into all that?
We go to Australia in like a few days.
Crikey.
You said it was going to be like a year and a half, 2 years. I take it there are more dates.
Yeah, of course. There's always dates that aren't announced to you fucking peons. But yeah, there's always something in the works.
Tell your booking agent to come back to St. Louis. We need shows in St. Louis.
I'm sure we'll be back there. Yeah, I'm sure.
Because you guys were great in St. Louis. Because Will did the Ivy cover for the first time there.
Oh yeah. What was the name of that venue?
Ready Room.
Ready Room. Yeah, I remember that. It had that concrete floor, right?
Yeah, and I bought a shirt from you that night.
Oh, dope. Yeah, it was a fun show. That was a good crowd for sure.
Because I think Will was getting ready to I think he has set up something like on the Tumblr, like where he could ask questions to you guys or something like that.
Oh, that was an old tour, yeah. That kind of backfired because people were just asking like really dumb shit, and like the stuff that I was reading off to the crowd was just like I was just picking the best of the worst. Like people just ask such stupid shit, like what color underwear is Will wearing? Like we're not reading that to a fucking crowd, you idiot. So So yeah, we definitely stopped that practice.
Yeah, I think you guys actually were like getting ready to read like my question, and I think Will must have stopped you or something like that. It wasn't. I don't think it was a bad question. Like I wasn't.
What was your question?
I think I was asking, like, what's it like sort of playing like these really personal songs live? Like, how do you sort of kind of cope with it? Because I think I asked because like my favorite Carsey Headrest song is "I Want You to Know That I'm Awake," and I kind of was just like wondering, how's it kind of like to kind of sing some of these like really personal songs. Every day
I'm gonna stop you there. You're getting too deep.
Too personal.
With the question. It's like, what's he gonna spend a half an hour talking between? No. Like that's too long of a question.
I don't blame you for stopping.
Granted, it's a good question. It's a legitimate question, but like he's not gonna do that in the middle of a song.
Not.
Like we need simple, entertaining questions. We're trying to kill 30 seconds while Ethan tunes his shitty guitar. But that's probably why we didn't do that one.
Oh yeah, like I don't blame you. I was still just like, oh shit, they're reading my question. Like what the fuck?
How far into the question did I get?
I think you might have actually read the whole thing, and I don't know what happened. I don't remember, but I do remember I do remember my name.
I read it.
I read it,
and Will just turned around and said "fuck it," and we just started playing.
Yeah, I think that's the case. Oh yeah, also
it's
during
actually pretty good.
Yeah, during that show, Will took a bathroom break, like in the middle of Vincent. He's just like, I'm going to go to the bathroom. You guys just keep playing. And you guys just jam down.
Oh, yeah. He's done that one other time, too. In Atlanta, he did that. Because the way we structured that song is he just doesn't really do anything for a while. It's kind of like an instrumental jam. Like, I don't even know if he actually is going to the bathroom. I think it might even just be a bit. You'd have to ask him. But, yeah, he just runs off stage.
Before this tour, I mean, how much were you guys playing Beach Life live? Because I saw you in Detroit. It must have been also 2016, and that was like the song you closed with, and that's one of my favorite songs from the band. And I was like, oh fuck, they actually played the whole thing. That's wild. Yeah. Obviously, before I knew this was coming out, but that was like one of the coolest experiences I've had.
We used to play it a lot, like way back when, and then we stopped for a while, and then I think that Detroit show, that was just kind of a special. We were just having a really good time, so I think we just kind of threw it in. Maybe someone requested it. I can't remember. But I mean, we've historically played it quite a bit, but we've also historically like fucked it up a lot. Like it's like, a long song. There's a lot of opportunities to make mistakes, but it's definitely part of the set now. Like with Naked Giants, it sounds fucking sweet too. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, we'll be playing a lot.
Oh yeah, the talk. One song you guys do live. I don't think it's enough appreciation. Was that Talking Heads cover you guys did like last year? I think.
Oh, at the Neptune, yeah.
I thought that was great. Like, I think Will put it up on his YouTube channel or something, or like some of his alt channel, and I was like, "This is fucking great."
KEXP in Seattle plays it all the time. They love it, and I think since we have the Naked Giants boys with us, I'm sure we'll end up doing that eventually. But don't hold your breath. But I bet it could happen.
Gotcha.
Very cool.
I mean, I got nothing else. I think again, congratulations.
I've got a question. I've got a question.
Oh yeah. Hit me with it.
So a couple questions. How many bands do you guys interview?
We don't really do
like a week.
A week, not very, like, we don't do stuff a week. Like, we don't, it's usually like every couple months we end up like looking into an interview. Like, just good timing.
Oh, so you only do a handful a year.
Yeah. No, we rarely do this anymore. There was like a period where we were doing like maybe one a month, but that's not the case anymore.
Yeah, we got. It's just one of those things where, like, I mean, we've been doing the podcast now for 3 years, and we just kind of have our own like good rapport that we don't really. I guess we've built up enough of an audience that we don't have to do interviews as often anymore. And when we do them, if we do interviews, like, we want to do interviews. It's like, hey, like, we want this person on the podcast because I really love their music, or I really love them as a person. I want to like have them on.
Right.
Like, with you, it's like, again, big fan of Carsey Headrest for a couple years now. Again, I love your Instagram account. I'm like, think you're a really funny dude. Like, hey, I'd love to get you on the podcast.
I got you. Okay, so with that said, who's your favorite interviewee?
Jeez. Honestly, we aren't that good at interviews. I mean, You've experienced this now.
I don't think you guys were too bad. I think your only flaw is you should have been fucking recording the moment I got in, because everybody missed out on like 10 minutes of entertaining shit with you guys fucking sucking at microphones. That could have been fun to listen to, but you fucked that one up.
I mean, us sucking at microphones, that's like the entire podcast generally. Like, every single episode, there's always someone who has mic issues.
Yeah.
Like
we never
So
get
it's sort
the
of a been
intro
there,
right.
done that thing. I see.
We have the most basic, boring intro, and someone always fucks it up.
Oh yeah, you guys. Oh yeah, that's it. You guys got to work on that intro. That is so fucking like 7th grade. Hi,
Yeah.
my name is blah. I like snowboarding and picking my nose. Next person. Hi, my name is Tim. I shit my pants this morning. What's your name? Like, you guys gotta get some music or like a fucking intro.
I mean,
or something.
we have an intro.
Oh, that's
song.
all in the editing, baby.
Yeah, we try to fix it up in editing if we can.
Well, I hope you really edit this then, because you guys fucked that intro up.
We'll try our best.
To answer your question, though, we've spoken to John Congleton a couple times, and he's really nice dude and really interesting to talk to.
Who's John Congleton?
He's a producer. He produced St. Vincent's self-titled album, and I think Strange Mercy, and he's done a bunch of other artists, and like I think he's won a Grammy or two.
Wow, he sounds dope.
That was like a good get for us. I don't know how that happened.
That was like
especially
our first big get. I think like one of us emailed him, and then like he was like, "Oh yeah, I'll do an interview," and like it was like right after he won the Grammy too, and it was like, "Wait, what?"
So but you guys are basing this just off the fact that he's famous. Was he actually fun to talk to?
Oh yeah,
he was really fun to talk to.
Yeah, he was really interesting to talk to and had a lot of good stuff to say. That's why I brought him up. I don't
good.
care about that.
He's even come back, hasn't he?
Super nice guy. Yeah, we've spoken to him twice.
Okay. Yeah, cool. Well, those are all the questions I have for you. I guess just work on your intro. God damn it.
All right. Well, I think I'll wrap things up. Thank you, Andrew, once again for coming on our podcast. Tell Will thanks for convincing you to come on the podcast.
Yeah, I'm sure he'll hear this eventually.
Convincing or forcing, you know.
Hey, you guys gonna be on the?
He's
on the
standing
road a
behind
lot.
you right now.
Hey, you guys gonna be on the road a lot. You have to have something to do. So I mean, hey. If Will has an hour to kill, you can listen to this interview.
Yeah, no, I'm sure. I mean, yeah, sure. Everyone's gonna listen to this interview. This is gonna be huge. This is gonna take you guys to the next level, unless you don't post-product a fucking good intro, because most people are just gonna turn it off the moment they hear you going, "Hi, my name is Andrew." And then you pause for 15 seconds and wait for the next guy to say his fucking name.
Hey, we'll try our best to fix. Here's the thing: you mentioning it now, like I don't know if we can fix it in editing now, because I think everyone needs to know how bad it is. And then the next
let's make it. We'll make it really good. We'll record a new one, and then this whole last like 5-minute diatribe will just seem like you're being very, very mean.
No, actually, I am being very mean. But what you have to do is you chop up the blank space between you guys talking and mash them together so it's real quick, name.
Yeah.
But then pitch all your voices up like 4 octaves. I think that'll make it a little more interesting.
Yeah, hey,
it's funny because we're probably actually going to do this.
We are going to do this now that you asked, because it's like, hey, you know what you're doing.
Specifically the 4 octave thing.
Exactly.
Good. Yeah, okay, cool. Well, good luck, guys. All right, I'm out of here. Catch you later.
All right, bye, Andrew. Thank you, man, for coming on the podcast.
Thanks for listening.
Thanks for coming on. Bye.
All right, so that was the interview. We'll see you guys on the next podcast. We got a lot of shit to talk about. Bye.